Welcome to the Three Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your co-host, Kevin, K-Daddy from Dirty South, the ATL, Hotlanta, Georgia. I'm a post-production master, filmmaker, and horror nerd.
And I'm your co-host, John Thomas, ghost hunter, super smartass, and film lover extraordinaire.
Hey guys, this is your co-host Ashley, Gorilla Girl filmmaker, lunar goddess, and cinephile.
Hey everybody, it's your co-host John here. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the Musketeers, how I met Kevin, how Kevin met Ashley, how we all met each other. Why the hell should you care? I don't know. Listen and find out.
I mean, that was the best intro we've gotten from you. This is like, I liked it.
We're keeping it.
Good job.
I don't know. I don't care. Stick around. Like, yes, that's your personality, though.
Yes. I like that. We're keeping that one.
Bravo.
I liked it.
Yay, me too. All right. And now a word from our sponsors.
Cinematic, captivating, terrifying, and intense. Trap 2021 will return live May 21st through the 23rd. New categories, new prizes, and still no entry fee. Visit trapfilmfestival.com for more information.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, first up, let's figure out who exactly is K-Daddy. Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Kevin. I'm from Atlanta. I am a filmmaker and editor extraordinaire. Like, I've been working with film and production as an editor for years. Love it. Film and music is my life. I live and breathe that stuff, right?
Do you have a favorite genre that you like to work within, or is it just all things film and music?
For me, it's storytelling. Like, it doesn't matter the genre. It could be horror, comedy, romance, reality TV. Like, it doesn't matter. As long as the story is good, I will eat that up. I love to be able to take my craft and give it to the world. So, to answer your question, no specific genre, no specific medium. It all comes down to the story.
What about you, John? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a father of two, so that's a big thing right there. My daughter is old enough to not even have to worry about it anymore. She's on her own, doing good. My son is in Missouri. That's a whole other story, but he's doing well as well. I basically working as an assistant manager in a restaurant. I've been doing that for a long time now. You know, I've kind of been trying my hand at writing, doing a little bit of screenplay stuff. Still trying to get more confident with that. You guys have been kind of pushing me and nudging me, so I like it, and it helps me out a lot. I also do a little bit of paranormal investigating, ghost hunting, stuff like that. Yeah, that's a little bit about me right there.
Like, that's a lot, though. Is like, I like how you say it just casually. I do a little bit of paranormal and ghost hunting, and yeah, that's just what I do. Okay, back at you, Ashley. Like, no, what? I don't just randomly have people come up to me and say that. So tell us more about that. Like, how does one just get into ghost hunting and paranormal investigating?
Well, I mean, for myself, it probably started when I was little. I mean, watching Scooby-Doo. They're the kind of almost original ghost hunters, if you will. They debunk stuff that's supposed to be paranormal, and that's kind of what we do when we go to different locations. We try to debunk, what we are told is paranormal, and if we can't find a reason or a rhyme basically to why something's happening, we kind of chalk it up to, okay, it might not necessarily be paranormal, but it's unexplained and we can't explain it, so therefore we put it on that shelf a little bit.
And then what? I watch Scooby-Doo too, but I'm not a paranormal investigator. So where's that leap? How does one go from watching Scooby-Doo to being a full-blown paranormal investigator? Where do you get training for that? How do you figure out how to do that?
Really, there is no training. It starts with an interaction, basically. Something has to happen for me wanting to know what happens after we die, basically. Do we go anywhere? Does our spirit stay here? You know, you hear the term having unfinished business. Do most spirits have unfinished business? Why are they still here? Can we interact with them? And stuff like that, which piqued my interest and made me want to do more of that kind of stuff.
Do you have to get a license for that by like the from the sporting goods store or something? Like,
No.
What?
okay.
It's not that kind of hunting, Kevin.
I know.
No, I wish it was kind of like Ghostbusters. It'd be cooler that way, but no. Sadly, it's basically, and it's nothing like the shows. They have to edit a bunch of that stuff out. You could be sitting in a place for like 3 or 4 hours and get absolutely no response, no activity, no nothing. And they don't show you that on the shows. They don't show you the boring part. They don't show you basically talk. Well, they do show you talking to yourself, but that's basically how it feels like. You're just talking to yourself. You're sitting in a room in the dark most of the time, talking to yourself.
How do you make that step from I got haunted and spooked at 13 to I am now a paranormal investigator? Because let's be real, I've heard spooky noises in my house that may be a ghost, may not be a ghost. If I go check it out, does that make me a ghost hunter? I don't think so. So there's a difference, right? So where does one go from being I'm checking out a spooky noise to I am a paranormal investigator?
Well, I mean, you could either start your own team or just go solo, basically do what you said, go checking stuff out. And you buy the equipment. You buy like a sound recorder to record the EVPs. You buy different things that you use, different equipment to kind of help confirm or deny. And nothing's set in stone, unfortunately. But some of the equipment you use and you can just get different responses. And so, yeah, like myself, I basically joined a couple teams.
How did you find these teams? Like, is it like an ad in the newspaper, like wanted Ghostbuster?
Google, basically. Google is your friend. I just typed in, paranormal investigative teams in my area. It comes up with a list because teams will put it on whatever website. And I started emailing people and waiting for responses back. Finally, I got one with the latest team that I was a part of. And the team leader, she called me back and said, hey, I'm going to ask you a couple questions like you, basically. Why did you want to do this? Did you have any experiences? Stuff like that. And finally, she invited me. She's like, all right, well, I like your answers. We're doing a public event at this place. Meet us there at this time, and I'll introduce you to the rest of the team. And ironically enough, that's how I met Kevin, was that night at that event.
That's right. That was one of the public events in Littleton.
Yes.
Yeah. 2012, I was in film school and trying to expand and start my career. I saw a job posting to work on a pilot for a TV show. They hired me. Unfortunately, the pilot didn't go anywhere, but the friendship with this group that I had made, they invited me to come back out with them, shoot some video for their public events and whatnot. And that's eventually how I met John at one of their public events. What are you excited about, Ash?
What? I am excited about being a part of something creative. I love to create and I love to put stories out there. And so doing it with my best friends is the most amazing thing to me.
But what is it about the creativeness that calls to you?
Oh, hell, I don't even know. I honestly can't say I know the answer to that. That's like a really good question. I never actually been asked what is it about creativity I like. I feel like it's just an inherent passion that I have within myself that I've always had. Just this idea of creating and expressing myself and putting that energy I feel within myself to express out into the world in whatever form I can get my hands on and be a part of, whether it be through dance, like movement or physical, even yoga. I know yoga is like sometimes considered an exercise, but for me, it's more of an artistic movement and a connection with so much more than just your body, and film and storytelling and writing and you name it. If I can put my expression and energy into it and out into the world, I'm a happy, happy girl. Otherwise, it stays all bottled up and I get crazy.
And you don't want Ashley crazy.
Like a tea kettle. Like when
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Like my creativity, like if I feel like I'm stuck in a bottle, it's like steam starts coming out of my ears. Like it's just,
Yes.
I have to get it out. Be it editing, be it acting, be it like, with Trap this year.
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, like it's just whatever the expression is going to come out as, it needs to come out.
That's what she said.
And I've seen the steam come out of his ears.
You have. I mean, with that show that you and I were developing, like,
Yes.
God, I know we pitched it to you, Ash, but like that thing had been eating at me for years. The style of it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, you didn't really have like a story to go with it.
I didn't have a story, but I had a concept of how to shoot it and how to deliver it. And
Right.
it needed to be fleshed out. It needed to have a backbone. And
That's where this guy came in.
John, when you expressed interest in it was like, dude, we gotta.
The look on your face was just like, yes, holy shit, finally somebody understands. And I don't want to take credit, but like, did I come up with most of the freaking story? Like, holy shit. I think I did. Like,
I like how he says, I don't want to take credit, but I did.
but I know, I mean, honestly.
No, you absolutely
But yeah, no,
did.
I mean, it was just crazy because Kevin's like, hey, I got this idea. This is this. I'm like, okay, well, how about we do it like this? How about this person, this person? Like, I even came up with the names and everything. Like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
I've never been able to do that with somebody else before. And it was just, it felt freaking awesome, especially writing it down on the board and everything else. I have pictures of those boards still, by the way, on my phone. Yes, it's ridiculous.
Send them to me.
I will. It looks like Dr. Scribble all over the place because shit is just everywhere. But like, we knew how to read it. We knew what we were talking about. I don't know if I looked at it now if I'd be able to tell you, but like
I feel like when you guys describe that board though, I picture like in those movies, the detective movies where they're trying to hunt serial killers and you've got like the victims all over and there's like pieces of yarn connected to thumbtacks all over the board. That's what I like envision in my head. It's just funny. I mean, you're both psychos, so it works.
Yes, exactly.
The comparison is funny.
I mean, it's pretty much what it was.
Yeah. But can I just say how, like, so much yes in that moment. Like, the fact that Kevin had this idea that was, like, burning in him to tell in this story that had to get out, even though you weren't quite sure. There was something you knew that was connected to this energy in you with kind of a framework that needed to come out. And you embraced it. And then it's like the universe brought John in and said, here's how that's going to come about. And he's the one that's got the story, the pieces that you don't have. And I love when that happens because I feel like that's happened so many times for me too, where it's like, I got this story or this project or this whatever that just needs bursting to come out of me, but I don't know how to make it happen. And I'm intimidated by it at first. And it just kind of sits there and stews. But then it's like the moment you decide, it's almost like it echoes out and rings a bell in the universe that it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to make it happen. And suddenly the universe is like, oh, you rang? Here you go. Here's this person that can do that. Or here's this opportunity that's going to open the door for that. And that is amazing to see like that universal like symbiosis occur. It's so amazing and I love it. I love to see that happen.
It's like the choice of taking the risk is the hardest part of taking the risk. Once you decide to take that and jump with it, it's such a beautiful moment. I mean,
falls into place.
When I moved here to Atlanta, like that was such a hard choice to make. On the career level, it was such an important thing for me to do and has opened so many doors. And because of that, like, I mean, who knows if this would have even happened? And which, by the way, I miss the hell out of you guys. So, just
because I feel like that's almost kind of what happened with like you and I, in terms of how we met. I moved back from Utah but even that, I'm gonna circle back and like even when I moved out to Utah, I wasn't sure. I moved there from Colorado and I wasn't sure about anything, but I just knew that for so long I had been stifling down this creativity within myself, this need to express myself through storytelling and through film. And I had never gone to film school. So it was like, and I was getting to a point where I thought, like a lot of us do, that, well, I'm too old for that now, which is ironic because the me that I am now looks back and I'm like, yeah, you were still a baby. Like, really? You were worried about your age? Going into that thinking, I would love to do film, but I was too timid. I would love to story tell, but I didn't go to school, and just like all the self-doubt. And I feel like if we're listening, and this is going to sound very meta, but if we're listening to the universe, it will send you messages and try and nudge you. Now, if you ignore it, I feel like it stops sending you those messages because it's like, well, you're not answering your phone. You're ghosting me. So we're not doing this. And I had been introduced into this film fest for this horror film festival because a friend of mine knew that I loved horror and is like, hey, this is happening when you move there. You should go check out some films. I bet you'd really enjoy it. Maybe you'll make some friends. And not to get into the film world, but just fellow horror movie lovers in a new place with nobody I knew. Sure, why not? And how many friends I made because I was that chick going to a horror film festival that really does just like horror movies. And so, but I became friends with the film festival owner, and I became friends with other people connected to the festival that were also connected to the film world. And it was an amazing experience. I loved the movies, loved the experience. I get invited by one of those people I met up to a Sundance panel for Utah Women in Film. I decide because I'm very much a person who doesn't like to let people down. And so if someone personally reaches out to me and invites me to something, I don't know if I'm going to be the only person that shows up for them. And I don't want someone to be, and maybe that's just like loser me from growing up, kind of that outcast that is like, what if I'm the only person that shows up to their birthday? So it's just like, someone reaches out to me and says, hey, I'd love for you to come to this event, I go. And I still do that even now. If someone reaches out directly to me that I know, PS, and says, I'd love for you to come to this event, I'm going to go, because you oftentimes don't know who's going to show up for them. And I got invited directly by somebody to go up to this panel. So I go. It was hosted by Utah Women in Film. Oh my gosh. I was sitting there listening to these strong, amazing women in film, and they are delivering these messages of just getting into film and staying in film. And I swear it was like the universe was talking directly to me. I don't know if you've ever felt that, where like you're sitting in a room, but it feels like they are talking directly to you. And that's what I felt like. And I must have had like a perma grin on my face, because afterwards, one of the presenters comes up and is like, you are just one of the happiest, smiliest people I've ever seen. And like, you seem to really be taking to heart everything we said. And I'm like, I did. And I'm going to get into film. The whole message was this idea, and I still remember it to this day, and I still let people know this. And I think I wrote an article about this for the Women in Film and Media Colorado. So I actually wrote an article for Women in Film in Media and Television Colorado about this, and it's this idea of permission. Oftentimes women wait for permission because of kind of social conditioning to get into things or do things that they feel driven towards. And so their big stance that day was stop waiting for permission from the outside world. Give yourself permission to take these risks, to make these steps, and to really go out there. Because if you're waiting for someone else to give you permission, you're never going to get it. So do it yourself. And that's not from a woe is me woman standpoint. That's just from you got to stop looking for other people to do it for you. Make those choices yourself. And so that really like rained hard. And I was just like, I'm going to get in film. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I don't know the how yet, but it's like we said, you make that decision and you listen to that message, you ring that bell, and things do unfold. And I was willing to put in work over those years that I was in Utah and really shadow every set that I could get onto and every role that I could be under, whether that would be assistant camera or grip or gaffer or assistant director or all of it, like script supervisor. I was like, I will learn it. Mm-hmm. And if I don't have the answer, I will find it. And it helped. And I put in a lot of time and effort, and I love it. And I don't regret ever putting in that work, because I feel like it led me to where I'm at today. And well, I know it led me to where I am today. But I will say, when I moved back to Colorado, I wasn't sure what the film world was going to be like in Colorado, because that's not where I started that journey. Yeah. It came in the most unlikely place. because I had been at a birthday party for my daughter's friend and found out one of the parents is a filmmaker, and he invited me into a group that is a filmmaking group. And I had talked about this project that had been the bane of my existence that I loved, but I kept losing editors on. They kept flaking for different reasons. And I was willing to pay the editor. So it was not this idea of, well, I'm doing it for fun. I was ready to give up on this project, which I had loved. And it was my story that started out as fun, but then became something I really loved and wanted to see to completion. And I'm really big on seeing all of my projects to completion. One of them recommended me to an editor that they knew and they vouched for. And I got an email from that editor pitching me their demo. Here's my demo reel. Here's my credentials. Here's everything. I'd love to be considered for this. And I was so burnt out from editors flaking on me that I was just like, I can't even deal with this right now. I'm just going to pause. I'm going to hit pause on this project until I get in a mindset where I actually really care about finishing it again. And I didn't respond to that editor, which is really bad on my part. I should have been, I know.
How long did it take
4
you to
years.
respond?
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years, but I did. I finally sent that email,
man.
Kevin.
You finally did.
That same person who had referred me out to this editor had also invited me to speak on a professional panel at their film school. And I came in like a whirlwind because that's what I do. I enter the room like a tornado. And
That you did.
I do. I am
Amen.
such a tornado. I'm a hurricane, Ashley. So I came in the room like a little hurricane and sat down and listened to all these wonderful projects by these amazing students with so much passion. And at the end of it, I was leaving the room and I met my future best friend. And he says, "Hi, my name is
Aw.
Kevin Wilson. It's so nice to meet you." And I was like, why does that name sound familiar? And he's talking to me and he hands me his business card. And I look down and I'm just like, why does this business sound familiar? And I'm trying to place it in my head because, again, I'm new to the Colorado film world. So I'm like, I know I haven't worked with him. So where have I seen this? And he's talking to me. I'm trying to buy time to figure out where I know him. And then he says, yeah, I sent you an email with my reel offering to potentially work on your project. And I was like, oh, shit.
Called out.
Never responded to you. My bad. So when he asked if I'd be interested in meeting up to discuss a future project, I felt very much obligated to at least hear him out after ghosting him and not having acknowledged his well thought out, courageous email. Because it does take courage. It takes courage to pitch somebody unsolicited your business, even if it's a word of mouth thing. Like, even if someone referred you and said, hey, someone's looking for an editor, you should reach out to them. It takes courage to send that email when they haven't reached out to you directly. And then here I go, like an ass. I'm an ashhole. And I was just like, oh, ghosted because I don't want to deal with this project right now. So I went to meet him for his project pitch. So let me ask you something, Kevin, because I'm curious. I have to know. Did you know when I was in that professional panel that I was the one you had emailed and and had not responded? Really?
Yep. No, because
oh no.
Because we got the confirmation email like the night before for the panel, and I had seen your email address on the CC list. And I was like, huh, okay.
That bitch.
that asshole.
That asshole.
No, honestly, I knew it was you and I knew that I had reached out to you, but I didn't think that you had ghosted me. Like, I know I joke about it, but like I just figured because of the person that recommended you or that recommended that we get in touch. It's like, okay, this guy's legit, so she must be legit. So she must be super busy, or she found another editor. Like, honestly, there's so much I don't want to say rejection, but there's so much, like, there's more no's than yeses in the entertainment world.
But I didn't even give you a no.
response.
But I know no responses tend to lead to no's. I was just like, no harm, no foul, no hard feelings, nothing at all. And when I saw your name, I was like, I want to definitely introduce myself to this person for the future, because who knows what projects may happen. And when you came roaring into the room like that, I was like, I really need to introduce myself to this person, because awesome.
She's an exciting tornado.
And what magic could happen working with her?
Can I tell you that it was supposed to be this professional panel, and it was spring, it was still a little chilly, and I was, I should have dressed better, but I am so like anti-conformity when it comes to dress codes. And so I'm like running in the room with like this black zip up like sweater. I've got torn jeans on, and then I just remember wearing my black like snow boot type things with this. I had added a metal pin to it years ago and never took it off. And it's huge. It's like 4 inches. And it's a vampire skull and crossbones. Like a metal vampire skull and crossbones. And it's really cool. And I ran into this wearing that. It's supposed to be a professional panel. And all I'm thinking is, Art's going to kill me and never invite me back to one of these. But I had told him I would do my best to make it. I had some other meetings and things going on that day. And so I was like, I'm going to do my best to make it. But we'll see. And he's like, sure, no problem. Show up if you can. So I showed up, tornado, running in the room because I couldn't find it. And then when I could finally find it, I'm running in the last person coming in, and I'm a hot mess. Or just a mess. As everybody else is looking nice. Kevin, I think you had like a button-up shirt on and khakis.
I had a button-up shirt and like khakis. But like, to be totally honest, I thought you were the most legit looking person at that table, though.
Because I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, because like...
Yeah, accidental win.
I feel like with entertainment and film is like, I mean, you're in it for a reason. You're in it to embrace who you are and your passions and like everything about you. I dress up when I need to, and like, I do like wearing, nice suit, nice jacket, all that stuff. But I wasn't like wearing those khakis and that like bloused out button up shirt. That wasn't me. It was just like, I was trying to look professional for the students.
But
and here comes Miss Ashley, and I'm like, that's a filmmaker. That is legit. That's a filmmaker. That's a producer. I need to work with her, and like, it may not be the project that I had emailed her about, but she needs to know I exist.
I know, like, that's the thing is I have wild hair. It does its own thing. And I just remember running in with my wild hair moppy going everywhere and thinking I probably should have like put a hat on or something. Like, this is just, I am so out of control. But at that point, I'm here to listen to people's, it really shouldn't matter what I technically look like, because it really should just matter what these students, the focus is on them and what their projects are and like what their goals are. How can I help them get there? I understand that looking good and dressing well or whatever helps you be a little bit more credible. But for me, it was like, well, this is what I've got because I'm running on a limited day. Hopefully it's enough. And I had a blast. I will say this though, Kevin, for those that don't know, and John can vouch for me on this. Kevin, you have such a clean, Buddy Holly, square, straight edge look. Just so wholesome. And that's a wonderful thing. But put you in khakis and a button-up shirt. And I seriously thought when I was leaving the room that you were going to pitch me to work on a Christian film.
I can see that.
Because I had blown you off, I was like, oh shit. Well, I guess I'll work on a Christian film. Just, not that there's anything wrong with those, but just not I am a horror filmmaker. And so, like, to Kevin's point, I'll work on any good storytelling, but that if I'm leading the production of something, it always takes a dark turn. So it's better not to put something in my hands as a lead, whether it be director or producer, unless you want it to turn dark or darker. So it just naturally, that's how it goes. That's how it flows. My tone kind of seeps into the story, and that's where it goes. And so I thought, well, we're going to have one dark, twisted Christian film.
Yep. Surprise.
Surprise! And now we know who you really are.
Oh man, seriously.
Yeah.
Things about this guy.
You say that I look wholesome and everything, which I'll gladly accept. I'll take that.
Own it, embrace it, rock that shit.
It gets me out of trouble so much. I love it.
He owns.
I think it gets him into more trouble
Well,
than he would care to admit.
sometimes, but that's besides the point. Flash that smile and be like, "Hey, who, me? Did I do that?
Jeez.
Could be me."
Yeah.
So I have a question. Like, you and I have developed some projects. Like I love that you're all gung ho to make things happen for whatever crazy whims I go on. Like, that's awesome, best friend and creative energy there. But what is your favorite ghost hunt that you've been on together?
Oh,
Honestly, I'd have to say Waverly Hills
Waverly.
in Kentucky. That was some shit for sure.
I don't know what that is. What's Waverly Hills?
Waverly Hills is a sanitarium, and it's pretty freaky. There's, oh man, it's I don't know. You'd have to look at the building and see it's huge, and there's no windows, so everything is just open and it's dark, and there's no real electricity anywhere inside the actual sanitarium itself. So there's like one room that has electricity, so you can plug in your stuff, charge it, whatever, your cameras, all that good stuff. So basically you go out, there's like 4 floors and a what is that called? The death I want to say death tunnel, but that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But is where they used to take the bodies when people had died, and they would wheel them down the tunnel. It's at an angle, so it goes from the building to outside, and they used to wheel the bodies down so nobody else would see the dead bodies. And you're able to go inside this tunnel when you investigate, and it's pitch black. You can't see anything. There is a ramp. There's also stairs. And I remember a couple days before we went, they found a big ass freaking snake at the bottom of the pit. And I was like, if that fucker is still there when we get there, I'm not going in that. Like, no, I don't do snakes at all. Snakes, spiders.
Leave it to you to be practical. Like me, I'd be like, nah, fucking ghosts. And you're like, no, snakes. Snakes are actually the real danger, Ashley.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
they actually even had bats too, which
I like
is
that.
a funny story. I remember me and Kevin, we were walking, had just finished the investigation as a group. The whole group was there. There was like 11 of us. And we were going and cleaning up and picking up some of the equipment. And we're walking and we're talking, and all of a sudden Kevin's like, "Oh shit." And I'm like, "Oh shit, what?" And I'm like, "What? Ghost. What the fuck?" No, there's a damn bat flew over his head. And I was like, "Are you serious? Like, I about pissed my pants for a bat? Like, what are you doing?"
So one of the things they tell you when you first go there is do not turn your flashlight on. Well, you can turn your flashlight.
Don't point it towards the ceiling. Yes.
Point your flashlight at the bat because it'll trigger them and they'll swoop at you.
Oh gosh.
And I remember, I don't think you were with us, John, but like,
no, I wasn't part of your group.
One of the other investigators that I was filming, we were walking into the old OR room, and we walked through the, what's it called, like the little doorway area, and all of a sudden he heard the squeak coming from above him. And what does the dude do?
Shine the light.
Pulls out his flashlight, turns his flashlight on, and all of a sudden, like, I think it was like 4 or 5 bats just swoop at him and hit him right in the stomach.
Oh my gosh. Did you get that on camera?
I might have. I honestly can't remember.
That would have been awesome.
I was laughing so hard because it's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like we said, don't turn on the light.
Okay, but can you really fault him? That's like an automatic reaction. That's like if you hear something slam behind you. If someone said, "Don't look behind you," and then you hear slam, are you gonna not look behind you, or are you gonna be like, "What the fuck was that?" I mean, it's in our nature to react. That just sucks. He got like gut punched by 4 bats.
Yes.
I feel like there's a joke there.
There probably is. We'll come up with one eventually.
You can't just wing it.
Oh, that was a bad one.
Do you guys, when you're going to a site, like especially that, because you went out of state to go there, how do you know you're going to get access to these places? Who owns these places?
So with Waverly, they actually allow people to come in. You do have to pay, so it depends on where you're going, how much, and whatever.
We were locked in there for 8 hours, I think.
Locked in?
Yeah. Well, yes and no.
We had private access to it for 8 hours.
But were you locked in?
No.
The owners of the company have like a gift shop that's right outside the building, and that's how we got in, was through the gift shop, and they locked the door, or at least shut it, so you're not really locked in, but you're there. Like you can go. They have cameras. They're watching everybody in their little area with their cameras, just to make sure that there's no funky stuff, no ruining of the building itself or whatever. Not that there's a lot of anything in there, but they just want to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do and not screwing anything up. So not really locked in, but in a way, yes.
Felt like it.
And is there someone that's part of your team? Because I think of this from like a filmmaking perspective. That's just kind of where my head goes. Is there someone on your team that has forms written up that gets you guys permission to even use like photos and video and stuff that you capture while you're there? Are they just like, we're shooting this, hopefully it can be used? Or like, do you guys worry at all about being shut down if you don't get forms of like using footage in places without getting permission? Or do you get permission?
Basically, how the group was structured, it was like a nonprofit, but it was never intended for like distribution of send.
So you weren't planning to get any kind of like eventual funds for it?
Yeah, it wasn't ever monetized. It was solely this is what, if you go to Sedona and you take a picture of Cathedral Rock, like it was that kind of a mentality.
Yeah, except you're on private property.
You're on private property. A lot of those types of places, though, they're basically tourist attractions. They're places that anybody can go and pay to rent and get in. And so they have the mindset of like, okay, people are going to come in, people are going to take pictures, people are going to post pictures. As long as, I would assume if you posted something that would hurt the brand, that you would get a cease and desist and maybe be asked to take a picture down or a photo down or a video down. Like whenever we would go to those types of places, it was never really a worry for release, because again, we weren't trying to get distribution and we weren't trying to get funding or money or whatever. It was more of a memorabilia type approach.
Okay.
Right, kind of like a hobby, basically.
Yeah. And that being said, when we would do the public events, we had to sign up, and the restaurant that we would host the events in, they had to sign up that said, by entering these premises, you're acknowledging and accepting that we are allowed to use your likeness in any video, photographs, or promotional material. So those were always protected.
What is a public event? Like you and John reference those very casually. What is a public event? What is a paranormal investigation public event?
Okay, so like the restaurant that we were at during the month of October, they would do, since it was quote unquote haunted, they had activity, stuff like that. They found different teams. This team that we were a part of was one of a few that have done things at the building. They basically put out a flyer on their Facebook page or whatever and say, hey, for this amount of money, you can have dinner, and after dinner and dessert, you get to go explore the whole place with this team that's come here and gotten some evidence. They don't guarantee anything, just like we don't guarantee anything. Nothing's going to happen like that all the time. Sometimes you go and nothing happens. And so they're made aware of that, basically, when they sign up.
So it's like a party with the ghost hunters at a haunted place and see what happens.
Basically. And we didn't get paid. Like they fed us food, which was always a plus. But good food is always good.
So they're purely profiting off you guys and you get food.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. But we also get to go and do what we like to do, which is go and explore these places and try to collect evidence and see what we can do.
And there was also like a history lesson too. The restaurant building had such a long and really interesting history to it. And so we would give little background on the town of Littleton and everything. It was a fun community event of trying to raise the Halloween spirit.
Yes.
Does this happen during Halloween time?
Yes. Yeah. We started I think, at the end of September and then went all the way through to the beginning of November. Every once in a while, we'd have one in November just because that's what
Yeah.
the restaurant was wanting to do. And it wasn't always the same people that were in the paranormal group. We'd basically split it off and trade off. So sometimes the same people would go, sometimes it'd be a couple different people, but it was still fun. Going back to kind of the whole us thing, I remember when Kevin had first kind of told me about you. It was I don't know, I was at work and he was telling me about the film festival or the student film festival that they were doing, that he was going to go to and watch the student films and all that. And he had asked me before a bunch of times, hey, do you want to go to this? Do you want to go to this? And every time I wanted to go, I just never had the chance. I always had to work. Well, the last time that he did it is like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, I'm actually not doing a damn thing. Yes, I want to go. And then that's how we ended up meeting you. I think I talked more around you than I have meeting anybody else like ever before. It was so weird. But like,
Pull it out of people.
you do. And it was just like, again, right then and there, it was that instant connection with all three of us. It was like, holy shit, like, what the hell is this? This is awesome. I love it. Let's see what the hell comes out of it. And from that point on, it was just boom, here we are.
Shoot your shot. And it just, I don't know. I mean, you can tell when you're being your real self and someone else is being their authentic self. You can tell, you get that sense, that sensation in your energy that says, this is my tribe member.
Right.
And it's an amazing feeling. And that's honestly what I felt when I talked to you guys at the bar. Because when I met Kevin at that panel, he seemed awesome, but he was still very, guarded in his professional mode. And I'm sure I was the same way. And then when we talked at that one, Dave and Buster's, when you guys pitched
Yes.
the project to me, we're still kind of guarded up a bit on that level. But for some reason, when we got to that bar and we were all hanging out and we just relaxed. We had just watched some horror films. We were in our relaxed, awesome state of being, and then we're just talking.
Right.
Like that moment, at least for me, was I just met another tribe member. This is my tribe. So I call it my vibe tribe. And oh my gosh, you guys were on that vibe.
Heck yeah.
I'm so glad that I met both of you. I'm gonna get cheesy for a second.
Get cheesy all the seconds. Cheesy always.
I'm from Wisconsin, so cheese is where I'm from. I agree 100% with what you just said, Ash. There are very few people in this world that I feel like I can just relax and just let everything about me out. And with both of you, I don't know why, all the cares in the world just go out the door. And I can say pretty much whatever I want.
Oh, do you actually keep things to yourself? Because some of the things I've learned about you recently, like, what?
Like what?
We're not getting into that.
We're not going to
Oh, okay. Never mind. Reeling it in. The level of comfort that I feel with you two is just so incredible. And I'm so very fortunate that I've known you, John, for 8 years.
A long ass time. Yeah.
8 years. And
Yeah.
Ash, I've known you for 3, just over 3. Our friendships are just starting. Like, this is the beginning of our story. We got a whole long way. We got a lot going for our future.
You're saying this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship?
Yes.
He's like, yes.
He didn't get the reference. All right, you're 12. I forget.
Oh yeah, young one.
And you say you love them.
Wait, which
Oh,
one is it?
seriously?
What did I miss?
Wow.
John, seriously?
What did I miss?
You seriously have never watched Casablanca?
I've seen Casablanca.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship?
Oh.
See, he says he does film. Bullshit.
I wish you could see the face that I'm making.
I see the face.
You can.
Since this is the get to know you episode and we're trying to, have people glimpse into our little mad world, can we talk about how you have been trying to get me to agree to playing with the Ouija board and I refuse. I think I even threatened to set yours on fire if you ever tried to make me play with it. So, that sounds really bad.
That's not bad.
Well, that still stands in that too.
I mean, set him on fire if you have to, if he tries to force you to play with anything.
Exactly. So that stands. If you try to force me to play with anything I don't want to play with, I'll set it on fire.
His facial expression is very, very sad. Like, look at him.
Sad.
He doesn't know what to say. Like, he's like, oh, somebody's gonna set me on fire.
I think he likes fire play though.
Oh my
so-
God, I love fire play.
See? He's excited.
Sign me up.
I'm all good with the wax and stuff, but fire,
Dude, don't knock until you try it.
Fire and ice, baby. Fire and ice.
Fire, ice,
ice is
wax.
fun. Anyway, we're going way off topic here.
No, I think we're on topic. We're all getting to know each other a little bit better because that's the thing. We have had 3 years, and even though we haven't been able to see each other in person all of those years, we've been able to stay in touch with text and Zoom. And so I feel like I still know you guys really well and know you better every day. And don't get me wrong, I miss our movie nights and our going out to get tacos and I want to go like so badly. There are nights where I'm just like, oh, I wish I could have a movie marathon night and go get tacos with the boys. It makes me sad. And I was very surprised that we did not get tacos when we were in Sedona.
We didn't have time.
I was bummed we didn't have Wi-Fi because we couldn't watch our horror movies
Right.
and get tacos. But we had the fuck out of some Moscow mules.
Mm-hmm.
And just vodka.
A splash of lime.
Love you, Kathy.
Yeah. You can't forget those guys. Those guys are awesome.
I feel like there's so much more to both of you that I can't wait to learn about and get to know your histories and like everything. And it's like at the same time, I feel like I've known both of you my whole life.
It feels like it. It really does. Yeah.
I don't know everything about either of you, but I feel like I know you in order like to have this connection. I don't know how to describe that.
No, I get it because I feel like sometimes you connect in and like really just have a strong bond with somebody's like almost like their pure energy, their pure
Mhm.
core. And the story helps you understand how the person is shaped to be where they're at. So you understand their behaviors a bit more, you understand their reactions a bit more. But when you really just get a person and their energy and their heart, then the story isn't always as important because you know who they are now and you're not so hung up on where they've been or who they used to be. So I don't know, like it's cool to get to know people. It's exciting to share parts about yourself, but to really be able to tap into somebody's just like pure heart, that is such a gift. And I feel like I've gotten that with you guys so much.
Agreed.
You're my best friends.
You're my best friends.
You're my boy, Blue.
Oh my gosh, Blue 52.
What movie is that? I'm kidding.
I'm going to smack you across the freaking screen, bro.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into today's show. This was a bit of a free form, just getting to know us, experiencing some of our stories with one another. Let us know if you liked it, if you'd like to hear more about who we are and a bit more about our history. But again, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please follow us on our social media pages. Feel free to give us an email if you have any questions or suggestions at 3hauntedpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, hit that follow button. But for now, I'm Ashley.
I'm John Thomas.
I'm K Daddy Kevin.
Tune in for next time. Outro.
That's Wayne's World.
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2.